as far as I'm aware, Microsoft has not engaged in the same kind of profit sharing that has driven like the mobile industry, for instance, to sell like mobile kiosks and mobile stores selling plans and selling hardware and then getting a long-term kickback. So there doesn't appear to be a similar system in place to help subsidize this hardware for Microsoft's partners. So I don't really see how this can compete with a PlayStation 5 and a Portal, which is going to cost. You could get a PlayStation 5 Pro and a Portal for the cost of an ROG Xbox Ally X.
This is a Steam Deck right now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
A Steam Deck.
That's actually nuts.
Costs literally like 27% as much as this. It costs literally.
That is the lowest end model, and that is the LCD model.
Less than half of the Ally, the non-X. Less than half. That's what you're up against. You're up against Valve taking their 30% and using it to subsidize their hardware. You're up against Sony being able to price a PlayStation 5 Pro plus a Portal at less than your Ally X.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and today I want to talk about the Asus Rog Ally X and talk about what's going on with this situation. Its reviews have come out. The embargoes have lifted at the time of this recording. Obviously, by the time this recording hits, you're going to have a lot of folks with it in its hands and stuff like that. But let's go ahead and dive into some nuances and some of these early review breakdowns and some thoughts. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. All right, so like I said, what we're going to do is break down the Asus Rog Ally X, the OEM version of a Rog Ally, sponsored and partnered and collaborated with Microsoft/Xbox, all that good stuff there. So as you see with the opening, there's always some concerns and such, right? The pricing, all that sort of stuff. And we're going to break down, again, my thoughts after we get through all of these examples here. But let's start off here, which I think is super, super interesting here. Starting with Fanboy himself, quote journalist, quote blogger, quote whatever you want to call Tom Warren at this point. Big Microsoft fan, but sometimes he will be more truthful than most fanboys, right? So as you can see here, Microsoft has started tagging games with its Xbox handheld compatibility program. Handheld optimized games will get a green indicator that they're good to go, while mostly compatible titles will be marked with a blue label and a note that some settings may need to be tweaked. So why am I sharing this? Why am I showing this? Well, it's already, you know how I talk about very often the casual gaming market out there. They make up a mass quantity. It's just like pop music and stuff like that. It's called pop music because it's popular. The casual market mostly flocks to that sort of stuff rather than indies or rock or that sort of stuff, right? Country and pop. So when it comes to gaming, when we're talking about casuals, they go towards those super popular games, whether it's FIFA, Call of Duty, even Battlefield recently, just, Fortnite, all the free-to-play stuff. That's what they go to because it's simple. They grab it, they pick it up, they're familiar with it. That's what they want. End of story. So when we're talking about a compatibility program, right, and obviously the Steam Deck has deck verified and all that sort of stuff as well, but green indicators, now we have a different indicator you have to pay attention to, and this is what you lean in towards with the PC ecosystem, right? You have to look at mostly compatible titles. So then you have to pay attention to what's compatible with this device, the casual market, the moms and dads, the grandparents, whoever, picking it up from son, daughter, friend, family, whoever. It's going to take a lot more work. And is that going to transition appropriately? Is that going to work out appropriately? I don't see that being the case. And then, of course, you're getting in there, you give this device over to someone that also might be a casual. Not only the casual is buying it, but it might be this recipient might be a casual. You yourself might be the casual picking this up because all you're hearing is this is an Xbox console, right? That's the messaging I'm getting, is this is an Xbox console. Welcome to the PC ecosystem in a world where you're going to have to constantly tweak. And I don't care what PC elitist comes at me in these videos and says, you don't have to do that much. You have to tweak. You just have to. More so than consoles. Do you have to tweak on consoles here and there? For sure. A few different settings if you want. You can fire it up and be ready to go. It doesn't matter. You don't have to tweak settings to make things work or not seem blurry and etc. That being said, just wanted to kind of share that. Additionally, Tom Warren here states, Xbox Ally and Ally X review. This is not an Xbox, all right? We were told this was an Xbox from not only Microsoft PR, all the fanboy shills, frauds, and a lot of the fanboys at this time of the recording are still doubling down that this is indeed an Xbox. While these handhelds are comfortable to use, great, they run Windows and they rarely let you forget that. Microsoft's Xbox plus Windows combo needs a lot more work. Our Xbox Ally X review is live now, and they have that there. And I agree. How do you have these two ecosystems, these two software engines and all that sort of stuff work compatible to each other? It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to finagle stuff. You're going to have to, again, use the word tweak stuff. You're going to have to do a lot more options. You're going to have to do more footwork and all that sort of stuff, as opposed to a console that you just fire up that you might just be used to. This is a new ecosystem, right? A lot of people aren't going to like that. But as we continue on, almost kind of like Salty Batch-esque files here, Ghost states that, what? Wait, what? Right? This is not an Xbox, LOL. And then Tom Warren confirms, no, it's definitely not. It's a Windows PC because it is more adhered to a Windows PC handheld component, right? That's what this is. That's the confusing messaging. Paintress comes in and says some stuff here. What I hate is that you can't play Xbox games, all that stuff. I know this is cut off, but that's what's being said here. A lot of people showing their disdain right now that may know ahead of time. Imagine Timmy Tom, Susie Sue, once again, I like to use those names, like to come out and get this, and they're like, oh, they said this is an Xbox. I can play my entire catalog and library, and yes, it's up to us as a consumer to also do some research and such, but to what extent? They're used to picking up an Xbox branded piece of hardware and their games work on it. This is not going to be the case. So people not too happy about that. And then we'll wrap up the Tom Warren saga here in just a second here, but I want to pop up one more from him, right? He states Asus and Microsoft have configured the 1080 panel on the base Xbox Ally to output at 720p by default. Okay, this is coming from his mouth. I don't have my hands on it. I'd highly recommend changing this yourself if you end up buying one. And then again, tweaking game settings accordingly. I get why it's probably going and starting off with 720p so you get the most power out of it and maybe better frames because of it and such and all that. But being 720p by default for two different SKUs, right? Again, two different SKUs, and not that the deck didn't have two different SKUs and whatnot as well, but you have two different SKUs again. You have one that's a weaker version, you have one that's more powerful, more this, more that. And again, you have a default. And he doesn't specify in this here if both of those models, both of those SKUs do have that default setting. Definitely odd. I think for the price points that you're paying for this, that it would at least be 1080p at the very least. So very odd. And again, I'm just thinking about the casual market here. You're going to have to tweak. I would be okay with that. I PC gamed as a forefront for quite a few years, put my console gaming to the side for a few years, went back to consoles because of everything. Not going to revisit that story, but again, I can just put myself in a casual's shoes. And casual isn't meant to be a demeaning word or say that you're not a gamer. It's just the fact of the matter, if you're expecting something and you're not a hardcore into a certain hobby, you're not going to pick up the things as quick as an above average gamer or whatever would be. An above average fisherman or car mechanic would be, right? Or any hobby, golf, you name it. So as opposed to me who doesn't golf, if I go out there on the green, I don't know what I'm doing compared to somebody that's been golfing for the last 10 years, right? So we have those differences there, and there's a huge gap and a huge casual market out there. I don't think this hits that, but let's get over here. I also want to share this as well. Snap Blast Play, right? Have to share these one above the other, okay? This is back in February of this year. He states, imagine quoting IGN and IGN review with a bunch of laughing emojis, but lo and behold today, guys, guess what he's doing? IGN reviewed the new Xbox Rog Ally X, a 9 out of 10, a very respectable 9 out of 10. That's higher than the PlayStation 5, the PS5 Pro, the Series S, the Series X, and the Nintendo Switch 2. Okay? But I just find it asinine. It's redundant at this point that these guys are sitting there, imagine quoting IGN. I also don't imagine quoting IGN most of the time. I don't remember the last time I did. I don't think they have a lot of credibility there. And obviously it just depends on the day of the week for the average Xbox fanboy to see if they like IGN for the week or the day, if they like Digital Foundry for the week or the day. If it fits their narrative, they're put back up on that pedestal. If it's not, they're down. They're the worst thing ever. They're the worst thing ever. Don't believe them, all that sort of stuff. So just wanted to share that there. These guys are very disingenuous, very fraudulistic. I just want to make up words at this point in time for that because I'm running out of adjectives to call these idiots. I really am. It's just really pathetic. But that being said, let's go over one more piece here, and I want to get to a couple videos, right? Sean Hollister, his review here, by the way. Now we're getting to the review parts here. My Xbox Ally and Xbox Ally X review. The top phrases running through my mind while testing it: someone's getting fired for greenlighting this launch. This is not an Xbox, and if this is the future of Xbox, Xbox is screwed. He went with the middle. This is not an Xbox. It's right. We've had this before. We had a Steam Deck, and we have other versions, Lenovo's, and other ROG Allies as well. So thankfully, he's not leaning towards if this is the future of Xbox, it's screwed. No, I think the future of Xbox, like we talked about in a previous video, is going to be OEM third-party based, and they're a third-party publisher. That's just the way it is. And then someone's getting fired greenlighting this launch. No, they needed to do something. This is what I'm considering the Band-Aid effect, right? So that's what's fun there. With that being said, let's get to the videos real quick before we make this video too long, because I do have some thoughts afterwards. So here's your first video right here from one of the reviewers. Here's a snippet. Take a look.
Microsoft calls it an Xbox, but it's plastered with ROG branding. You can't play the vast majority of your old Xbox game library, and even the special sauce, the Xbox full screen experience that runs over top of Windows, feels like it could have just as easily been an app that runs over top of Windows. I mean, imagine it. The perfect fusion of the game library and versatility of Windows gaming with the optimization and the seamless, more affordable console experience of Xbox gaming in one perfect device. Now, keep imagining that, because unfortunately, the ROG Xbox Ally isn't it.
All right, so coming back to that there, I mean, their words, right? Their hands-on impression. Let's go to the next.
The $600 unit, my suspicion is that this will be returned a lot. I think people will think it's an Xbox product and it'll get home, they'll try it out, and it'll be not Xbox enough. I think a lot of people just don't view it in the right light. And that is the curse of using that name in the product. It's like, if it's an Xbox product, it's gotta be an Xbox experience.
Once again, their words, their hands-on review. Let's go on to the third and final one.
All these games are going to be pushing that system far too hard. Starfield, right? You have to run at super low resolution. You have to run at 720p and then sub resolutions of that to even get it running. So where does the Xbox Ally become recommendable? I can't possibly in good conscience recommend it at all. Now, if it drops in price pretty significantly, then okay, I could see that, but then you're still having a Steam Deck. At that point, why not just get a Steam Deck? Steam Deck also, during the sales, was 20% off. So you're at a considerable price difference.
And there you go, once again. So I do want to preface this by saying that not every reviewer that had a ROG Ally X for review for after the embargo hit and lifted and all that stuff, is sitting there saying the same things that these folks that we just shown you. the same opinion, the same outlook, that sort of thing. There are some that are like, hey, I like this for what it is, and all that good stuff. And I will tell you this. There's a couple takeaways here, and this is not a video of me telling you not to get a Rog Ally X. This is not me saying that, because I have been prefacing, I've been stating almost every video, play where you want, what makes you happy, all that sort of stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. Be smart, do your research, but there's nothing wrong with that. That way you don't get caught like I'm explaining during the whole casual market here. I think there's going to be a lot of these that are indeed going to be returned because they have an impression that this is indeed an Xbox. It is not. It is a handheld PC device. Some people may like that. People may be jumping into that ecosystem and be like, you know what? I like tweaking. I like troubleshooting. I like having more options and deep diving into certain aspects. This does allow me to mod a little bit more than my console does, and et cetera, et cetera. Some people are going to like that, but the vast majority of the casual market is not going to like it. I expect to see a lot of returns because of the mixed messaging. Just recently, and I'm not showing the video right now because again, I don't want to make this video in particular too long, but they went on Good Morning America and they strictly stated you can play your Xbox games on here. So it leaves a lot of room for misinterpretation, right? Whether that is incidental or not. I'm leaning towards the incidental because they can be forthcoming, but you want to market the thing. You don't want to be like, yeah, let's play some Xbox games, but hold on a minute, just so you know, they're not going to say that sort of stuff, especially on a show like Good Morning America, where the time is limited. Here's our short segment. This is what you're going to do. Go ahead and pick it up this holiday season, guys. By the way, did you know you're not going to be able to play Grand Theft Auto 6 on this right away during launch when it initially launches? Did you know that this doesn't work with your entire Xbox library like you might think it will? Did you know there's going to be some caveats to what games you can and cannot play on there as a whole as well? Did you know, right? The list goes on and on. But so that's my takeaway there is A, there's mixed messaging to the highest degree. B, I don't think this is for everybody, whether you know what you're getting into or not. And C, I think this is a Band-Aid effect to hold over to whatever that next hybrid iteration OEM third-party device is going to be from Xbox for the next generation. Again, I don't feel like this is going to be a first-party situation. I could be wrong, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Again, it doesn't matter to me one way or the other. It matters to Microsoft, it matters to the Xbox brand, and it matters to the Xbox fans in general, because for me, I got off of this train ride, this delusional train ride, a couple generations ago because I knew where this was all heading, and I can't imagine just being yanked around all the time with the mixed messaging, only 4 games, this, that, and the other. I don't have the time to relist everything that they've gone through the last 10 years of bullcrap and lies, but again, play where you want, what you want, just maybe be smart about it. Understand where the future is going and what's to be expected of that future and what it looks like. But that being said, we will wrap up the video here, guys. I really appreciate that. If you stuck around for the entirety of the video, thank you so much. Your support's amazing. Every like, every comment does help out the algorithm. Both those things do help out me as a content creator as well. So thank you. I love to hear from y'all as well. If you haven't, additionally, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself so we can get to that 4,000 sub goal. I know we can do it. You guys want more of the truth, you want more of the non-delusion, that's what we're here for, and we're here to have a little bit of fun as well. So I really appreciate that, and we will see you guys next time on the next Xvault gaming video. And until then, take care.